Hi, it's Colleen Schmidt from Divination Counseling Service here to present the asteroid Ceres. She's also known as the mother when we look at the big four. So we've already done the sister. We have already done the wife. Now we're going to look at the mother. And these are the big four, the most commonly used asteroids by other astrologers, particularly those that don't use the smaller rocks. They might not use the smaller asteroids, but they would certainly be encouraged to use the big four, where we have a lot more information to look them up and understand what they mean in delineation. Ceres is considered mother and child relationships because she represents the mother of Persephone. And as you know, she lives with her mother. She comes in the spring and she leaves after harvest. So in the fall, then she goes to Hades or Hades, depending on how you pronounce it, to be with the underworld for the other half of the year. So Ceres is part of that story because she's the mom. Ceres is also things like wheat and cereal, things that grow. It's also related to foods and meal times. She does have a counterpart, Demeter. So in the smaller asteroids, Demeter is named for Ceres, and they're interchangeable. Ceres is the Roman version. Demeter is the Greek. But they're basically the same thing, and they're based in the same story. Here, there's a whole thing about substance and nurturing, and this is an asteroid that can also play an important role, believe it or not, in death charts and vindictive themes regarding children. Okay? It can indicate an extended period of mourning and long-term feelings of loss and grief. And that is per Mechanics of the Future, which is written by my teacher, Martha Lang Westcott. So it's a little bit more than just the idea of nurturing. Also taking care of, whether it be yourself or other people. It's about nurturing, whether it's feeding yourself or supporting and taking care of somebody else. It's also how we respond to demands for nurturing. Also how we look after one another. So from my own work, I pointed out that not only is she a mother, but if you combine her with certain things, like let's say that you combine it with Hades, because that's what I did. Hades and Ceres is junk food, right? So just to give you an idea of how you can use these asteroids. It's also, it's not just foods, it's all things that come under the jurisdiction of food. Like I said, cereal, but beer is also here because of the hops. Breads, because they're a staple, but they're also based in wheat. Gluten issues could be a factor in a person's chart, could be read through Ceres. Ceres is used quite a bit in medical astrology. We use it for brain tumor work. You could use it for cysts, for warts, because they are growths. And tumors in the brain are growths. So it has an extended meaning if you look at that nurturing or the idea of growth on a more broad stroke. So here there's, when you have Ceres conjunct the ascendant or the sun, and I do write this, there is a concept of a real need to nurture others as well as self. You know, if you have Ceres in the fifth house, you're probably going to be rather nurturing. If you have, and that means your children, but it means the way you express yourself is to nurture people. If it's in Cancer, I believe it's in the strongest place it deserves to be, because Cancer is about hearth and home and, taking care of the family and the mother and the children. And all of that is really related to Ceres as well, where she too had a home set up for 6 months of the year with her uh, daughter, Persephone, or Proserpina if you're talking about the counterparts. Here, you're looking at, if you're looking at Chiron conjunctions, you might be looking at unorthodox family structures, okay? Because they're not going to be normal. Chiron here can also indicate that there's been difficulty winning the mother's approval, okay? So here again, just like all the other signs, Ceres and Aries would be the most aggressive, and not here's nurturing and being aggressive, but you got to realize that that can't be a good place for it if it's more Cancerian, which is a square to that. It would weaken the energy. Okay. In Gemini, they might like finger foods. I know I skipped Taurus. I'm going to go back to Taurus. Ceres in Taurus would be, again, very food oriented because of what Taurus represents in terms of our own security. And I think that these would be people that would probably have very stocked inventory of food. Whereas, again, Gemini would be people who would take care of themselves or maybe had a mom who was an intellectual. So we move into Leo, and you're dealing with moms who would be extremely proud of children and would be hovers of their children. Okay. And they would be making sure their children did what they were told. In Virgo, it is again about health and well-being, the sixth house. And just like having it at the midheaven, I think having it in the sixth house is not just about taking care of your family, although I think that would be huge in someone's chart in Virgo, but also it would be similar to that at the midheaven, where you would have somebody doing it maybe as their work, part of their work routine or their daily work. As we get into Scorpio, there could be some really intense, um, almost possessive qualities related to mother and child relationships. I'm not saying bad. I just think that remember that Scorpio is a transformational quality and Ceres is a mother. So sometimes mothers can be a little overbearing, not just Leo mothers, but maybe the same with Scorpio mothers. Um, in Libra, again, a weakened energy because there could be a lot of waffling in terms of motherhood, but also with regards to food and eating habits. In Sagittarius, you've got a fun-loving mom type atmosphere where the emphasis for children might be on education. In Capricorn, again, this is more like a midheaven type thing where it could be something that you do for a living. But in Capricorn, you also have a weakened energy because of Capricorn being so oriented toward business rather than the home and hearth, which is where Cancer is. The same would be said for Aquarius, which has a lot of Saturnian qualities. I think Aquarians, though, have a friendship issue. I don't want to call it an issue because I don't think it's an issue with regards to their children. They're usually friends with their children and with their parents if they can. And in Pisces, you could have an enabling parent or a parent who is not only enabling of their child, but perhaps even, when it comes to nurturing might be something more of a spiritual nature rather than a nurturing nature directly. So these are really, I'm just so generally swiping these things, and there's probably a lot more that can be said about this. I think that if you had this asteroid say, conjunct Diana, then your nurturing would be more aimed toward animals. By transit, you could see, especially transiting places like the midheaven, you could see where there could be disruptions in a person's work because they had to stop to take their, whatever their career is, to take care of children. Children could cause an interruption, if you will, in a person's work or career. Sometimes when women leave work, then to have a baby might come under something like this. Um, I think that most of the aspects are aligned with children, issues with children. But as I said, there could be a lot more involved here with regards to food and food preparation as well. But when you think of Ceres, you really want to think of nurturing. However, that interpretation would be, even right down to when I see a lot of Ceres, and it was around a lot, I think, during the time of the viruses. And it has a lot to do with taking care of oneself or taking care of the people around you, which is a lot of what this was about. So I just feel like when you're dealing with something such as uh, Cirrus, you want to try to translate that, say if it's conjunct something like Hopi, for example, which is actually prejudices and stuff like that. But actually what it means when it's with Hopi is foods like popcorn or nachos or so, because Hopi relates to corn. So here you have a situation where you would then look to it with regards to the foods that Hopi brings up. If you see it with something like Lilith, then you're dealing with favoritism with children. Rejection in parent-child relationships could be an issue. There could be an issue because of genders of a child. Maybe parents wanted a boy and they got a girl, or vice versa. So with certain things, there are certain energies that then will play into the asteroid, and it can help define how that asteroid's going to be used in delineation. What does it mean? How is it interpreted? Um, Eating habits in general have an effect on our digestive system. So not just, well, the moon in particular would, not just Hades, okay, because that's definitely going to cause, that's why I said about junk food. It's definitely going to cause a digestive issue because Hades is about digestive issues. But so can the moon be. And so if you're looking at a moon aspect, it could be aspects related to the stomach, digestion issues, problems with the appetite. And it can also relate to comfort foods. But you see how the play is working with the word in terms of what that asteroid's going to mean in delineation when you're looking at that chart. So hopefully this helps. And I want to thank you for watching this video. I want to thank all of my subscribers. And if you're not a subscriber, I hope you'll consider becoming one. And I would love to hear from you. So if you would like, but most importantly, I would really like to hear from you and send me some comments because that's the most fun. With that said, take care until we meet again. I wish you only good readings, but I also hope you have a great day.